It was sort of curious because I woke up experiencing it, and I in the dark, but I could feel it was like my head was in a kind of almost like a washing machine, just going over and over, but with a lot of pain. And I think I knew what was going on because I'd had a previous stroke. But I got up and I could sense, well, I couldn't see properly. So obviously that was perhaps the secondary thing, but I just, my eyesight was just all over the place.
God, that must have been terrifying. You say you had a stroke before. That was a so-called mini stroke, wasn't it, when you were 40?
That one was less kind of debilitating. I lost some vision in that one, but it was really after the fact. That again was in my sleep, and it was really only a few days later before I realised I'd had a stroke, I couldn't see for very long, and my partner at the time said, I think you should probably go and get that sorted out. But I think because I recognised the signs with the second one, and it was worse and sort of more debilitating, I knew what was going on.
What was going through your head at the time? I mean, apart from this intense pain, what were you thinking?
Not again, you know. I think that was the thing that frightened me, that I knew what had happened in the past and what it was, and it was just, I don't want to go through this again. I don't want to have this sort of trauma, this problem. I felt like, obviously in retrospect, foolishly, that the first one was a kind of anomaly, like a blip, and perhaps that was my way of dealing it, kind of put that to bed. That was a one-off. I can get on with the rest of my life. And I think the trouble is when it happened again, I couldn't play that game anymore.
How did it affect you physically and emotionally?
I was very exhausted, which I think is a well-known sort of post-stroke thing. But I was very luckily, I didn't have any motor skill deficiency or speech. I was very worried. You know, I was talking to people going, is my speech all right? Because I had no idea. Mm-hmm. But it's affected my eyesight, so I've lost half of my eyesight, which, you know, under the circumstances I'll take, but is obviously quite debilitating.
Yeah, and I wonder how that affects you in your line of work. I mean, as a stand-up comedian, and we heard a bit of you, you're used to using your life experiences and putting it out there on the stage and seeing how the audiences react to it. What did you do with this? Did you think, I can find the funny in this? I mean,
this is a horrible admission about the psyche of stand-up comedians. It takes you about 0.2 of a second to go, oh, if something horrible happens to you, or ridiculous, or
really?
Illegal. Yeah. I mean, it's a tragedy and a psychosis, probably, of the stand-up. But you think, oh, hang on a minute, I can talk about this. I say that facetiously, but also it's been really useful for me to talk about it. And when I get it right, I find that audiences respond in kind, you know, not always. One of the problems I'm having now is that people don't necessarily believe me. And that's something I have to pitch right and kind of address. Which is difficult because then you sort of think, oh, that's just some able-bodied man going out and mocking those less fortunate than himself. You know, you have to be on board with the fact that I have been through this. But hopefully if I can persuade people, then they respond by, you know, not necessarily have their experience of a stroke, but they might have had their illness or something that they need to get over. So it's kind of universal in that sense.
And how, finally, have you changed the way you look at life, relationships? Big question to end on, I know.
I've been really helped by my partner, Melinda, throughout all of this. I mean, but by loads of people, not just her, not to belittle her, but lots of my friends. I think I was very independent, and I've been really keen to take people's help when it's been offered, ask for help and accept help. You know, no man is an island and all of that. I mean, people say they don't want to be a burden on their friends and family, but I absolutely intend to be. You know, it's good. You know, I think people do make a fuss of you, and I've enjoyed that, but I've also needed that. And, you know, you don't want to be the most selfish person, but you also go, you know, people do want to help you, and I might need help. So I found that, you know, a very encouraging thing, to ask for help and to receive it.
Markus, thanks very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.